protecting you and your family or creating more danger on the streets of Texas.
It's always been an argument nationwide even. The FBI says firearm purchases in the U.S. began to surge 6 years ago and have doubled since then. And now a spike in background checks suggests the increase in gun sales is only going up. Political uncertainty and shooting events like last week's in Colorado have helped push that number along. Our Josh Hinkle takes an in-depth look at what's happening here in Texas in the wake of that tragedy.
Well, a background check is to make sure you don't have a criminal record or other red flags before stores can sell you a gun. Last year, Texas was second in the number of background checks with 1.15 million. But we found out today it's not just potential gun sales tipping the scale.
If you're going to be safe, it's because you know how to protect yourself.
No waiting list just yet, but enrollment is quickly filling up at Tactical Choices. Owner Steve Wolf says the monthly enrollment at his gun range south of Austin doubled in the last few days.
For the first time now, more women than men are signing up for concealed handgun classes.
Wolf says like most mass shootings, last week's in Colorado convinced more people to sign up for his class.
Getting a concealed handgun license is relatively easy for most people. If you're eligible to buy a gun from a federally licensed dealer, you're probably eligible to get your CHL.
Along with the test, you have to be at least 21 years old and pass a criminal background check. That screening is something that surged in Colorado over the past weekend alone. 2,900 requests approved for people who wanted to buy a gun. 25% more than an average weekend.
I hear about shootings every single day in Texas. I know people who have been shot.
The Texas chapter of the Brady Campaign to Prevent Gun Violence says background checks are a good first step to weed out people who shouldn't have guns, but lawmakers could do more. Congress hasn't passed strict legislation in more than a decade.
It's an issue that involves public safety and public health. It's an incredibly important issue that legislators need to look in the face, and they need to take a stand on it.
The gun then comes out.
Wolf says used properly, guns can protect. And if you're going to get a gun, take the training too.
Owning a firearm really doesn't make you any safer than owning a guitar makes you a musician. It's really about your skill and your training, your knowledge of how to use the equipment, and understanding legally when you're allowed to.
Gun sales are definitely going up at some stores here in Central Texas, too. One local shop told us they've seen a 30% increase in the past week alone. Josh Hinkle, KXAN News.
Thanks, Josh. And here's more. Last year, the FBI got nearly 16.5 million requests for background checks from gun sellers nationwide. It's the highest number they'd seen since the system went into place in the late 90s. The 2011 number was up 15% from the year before, when there were 14.4 million screenings.